Southeast Raleigh Magnet High School, teachers strive to provide their students with the knowledge and skills they'll need to be successful in the future. One of the ways they're doing that is by delivering instruction through projects that connect their lessons to real-life applications. Let's find out how this project-based learning is benefiting the students here at Southeast Raleigh.
Each one of the people up here has a slip that says that they are either an interviewer or an applicant. If you have something that says that you are an interviewer, you are the description on that. You own some sort of a company or business, you've advertised for a job, and you are about to meet someone who has applied for the job. If your slip says that you are an applicant, that's who you are today. You have a certain job set skills, you're going in to apply for a certain job. And what we're going to do is role play the way these interviews might look. Okay?
Deborah Brown teaches English and leadership classes at Southeast Raleigh Magnet High. She's always looking for ways to connect her lessons to her students' lives.
iLead 21 is set up around projects where the kids get to take the leadership roles, so they get to act as project managers. We basically form a company within the program. So students themselves take on the roles as art directors, technical managers. So part of the skills that we work on is interviewing and job skills.
Down the hall in Carrie Horton's English class, lessons from literature and U.S. history have been combined into another real-life project that the students are working on.
The project that we're doing right now is they have to create a museum exhibit, and their exhibit has to portray one of the 19th century reforms or civil rights movements. So they have to find all the information out about the civil rights or reform movement so that they can then complete the exhibit. So it's a discovery-based model of learning.
Project-based learning is an instructional approach built upon authentic learning activities that engage student interest and motivation. These activities are designed to answer a question or solve a problem and reflect the types of learning and work people do in the everyday world outside of the classroom.
Well, I know most of us probably grew up familiar with the idea of doing projects. We're used to making posters and getting out the magic markers and doing little shoe boxes and things. What's really different about project-based learning is that the project is what drives the learning rather than being something that takes place at the end to assess the learning.
Well-designed projects provide students opportunities to work with and master the central concepts and objectives included in the standard course of study. For each project, the teacher gives the students a rubric, which is used to assess their work. The rubric clarifies expectations so there are no surprises.
The one that I probably had the most success with was a court trial that we did. Last year I had sophomores for world literature, and we read Oedipus the King. And then they had to put Oedipus Rex and his wife Jocasta on trial, and they had to argue who was they had to argue who did what wrong and whose fault it was that Oedipus killed the king. And so they really did a really good job with that, and they really had to know the material in order to argue their case.
Oedipus, and he actually had to go on trial, so I ended up writing maybe a good 4 or 5 pages defending him, and that completely expanded my view not only of the ancient system and such, of Sumeria and such, but it completely reshaped my view of the legal system and gave me a new perspective on the practice of a lawyer.
Well, I like that it's more, instead of just like lecturing, it's more like application of it, because most of the time, like in classes, we wonder how is this really going to like apply to me in real life and how am I going to use it, and it helps like to show that.
Project-based learning not only changes the way instruction is delivered, it also alters the role of the teacher in the classroom.
So it turns the classroom into a much different place where instead of the kids coming in, sitting down, expecting me to do something to them, they come in understanding that they are going to be the active seekers of knowledge in the room.
But really during the classroom, I'm a facilitator. I kind of redirect them and kind of answer questions, point them back to the rubrics and the tools that we give them, and we kind of guide them along the way, but really they are self-learners, and it's really a kind of independent work. And it really helps them when they go to college and there's not somebody standing over them going, oh, you have to do this and then you have to do that. They learn that they have to find information for themselves in order to complete the projects or tasks.
In addition to the standard course of study, project-based learning also teaches students 21st century skills. Since the students must present most of their projects to outside judges, they develop good public speaking skills.
We talk a lot today about how we're trying to train kids for jobs that don't exist yet. And when employers talk about what they're looking for the student in possible applicants from our students, it's not so much that they want someone who knows Shakespeare, but they want someone who understands how to work in a team, who understands how to get through a conflict, who understands how to go find information, who understands how to manage and budget their own time. So what project-based learning does is, in addition to learning the content in a really interesting way, it also teaches them those meta skills: collaboration, teamwork, problem solving, conflict resolution, that we know that employers are looking for, and we know that they're going to need to truly be successful in the 21st century.
Yes, it is much more real world. The scenarios I'm given, they are much more relevant to the real world. It gives me work experience, and it also enables me to learn in a 21st century environment by having all of this new technology media present as well.